Greetings, wary traveller. Through luck or perhaps fate, you have found yourself in the company of Finton Merrybrook, the greatest storyteller in all of Devine. You come at a fortuitous time. I was just recalling the story of King Barrister and his struggle against the Verak horde. I see by your reaction you've heard of them, those cursed invaders from beyond the stars that laid siege to the city of Giant's Bane. Grab yourself a drink, get comfortable, and let us begin. The realm of Devine was once a flourishing microcosm of races, both terrifying and whimsical, with humanity at the center of this strange and beautiful world. Over time, one by one, they all fell. The dwarves constructed armies of clockwork soldiers and drove far too deep into the belly of the world. They awoke sleeping gods beneath the mountains in the east, and now are survived only by their rusted automatons. The Magiri, strange beings without a true form or visage, who bestowed the gift of magic unto the world, were consumed by their own pursuit of a spell, one that could grant them immortality. They fell to death's grip before they could perfect that forbidden incantation. The Eleuthian Titans, elemental demigods who fashioned this very realm from stardust within their celestial forge, departed long ago to create a new world. Every night, the shattered remains of the moon in the sky are a permanent reminder of their complete and utter failure, and a blemish upon the night sky. Today, the continent of Devine is populated only by scattered kingdoms of men, ruled by bickering leaders who rarely speak with one another. It is here that our story begins. The Verak horde appeared on a day like any other. With the sun hanging high in the midday sky, they descended upon the kingdom of Giant's Bane in a sea of lightning and fire. King Barrister of House Rigel exploded outward onto his balcony, his jaw agape in utter awe at the sight of their metallic vessels. It was not long before they made their intentions known. From within their ships outpoured strange and terrifying monstrosities. Among them were beings that resembled humans, but stood twice their height, and wore full suits of armor that shimmered in both sun and moonlight. From within their helmets that bore no space for eyes or a mouth, a striking blue light escaped, one that would haunt the dreams of the king's knights until their final breath. The first encounter with them was a massacre. Amidst the sea of corpses and scorched flesh, one knight emerged, still drawing breath. His weapons and armor were augmented by the magics of the invaders, able to break through their armor and cleave through their flesh with ease. It is said that as he walked the great distance back to the gates of Giant's Bane, the ashes of his fellow knights clung to his once polished armor, leaving him scorched and black as the night sky. It was this tale that would earn him the title of the Blackened Knight, though Sir Alistair Wolfguard would not be given a warrior's welcome upon return. For his use of the invaders' dark arts, he was labelled a blasphemer and conspirator by the king's priests. The king had little choice but to exile him for his crimes. The king's scholars named these invaders the Verak horde. Verak in the old tongue translates to the creator's folly. Indeed, King Barrister and his scholars believed the invaders to be a cosmic mistake, one that must be righted by the hands of men. And so the king sent word to his estranged neighbors, and despite all reason they answered. Meanwhile, the Verak horde built towers of steel that dwarfed even the highest peaks in the castles of Giant's Bane. It was not clear what purpose these towers would serve until it was too late. Over 10,000 men answered the call for help, but when scouts were sent to survey the battlefield, reports returned to the king's ear that the towers which now surrounded his kingdom reduced any and all who approached to dust in a flash of blue light. The king and his allies were trapped like rats in a flooding cellar, and the waters were rising quickly. As food and supplies dwindled, the king became desperate. One morning when the servants came to wake his daughter Nira, they found that she too had gone missing. She left a note, offering only a single clue to her whereabouts. "Seek me out at the tomb where marigolds grow." The king knew that his daughter had not been taken, but rather had departed of her own volition. For you see, this was not the first time the king had seen the haunting blue light of the Varrock horde. Years prior, Queen Feyrin disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and all the king saw before his beloved was gone forever was a flash of brilliant blue light. No doubt when Nira witnessed the ominous blue light of these invaders, she saw a way to get her mother back. With no one else to turn to, the king summoned the Blackened Knight to his throne room. Alistair was reluctant to the king's wishes after his exile mere weeks ago.
You cursed me, blackened my name like the armour I once wore in your honour, and now you come to me for aid,
Alistair asked.
Your knowledge of their dark magic can turn the tide of this war,
the king declared.
Not magic. Such things have long left this world. The Varrock horde's capabilities do not follow the path of magic. They are not ruled by chaos, but instead governed by order and structure.
The king knew of what Alistair was suggesting.
You mean to say that the Varrock horde's weapons and armour are the products of science? Indeed, and though I know such practices are forbidden, I have learned of their trade, mastered their weapons, and survived against insurmountable odds. You would not see reason then, so what has changed?
The king lowered his head.
She has gone to them, my daughter, Nira. You once had a daughter too, knight, did you not?
King Barrister had played the heartstrings of the Blackened Knight like a masterful bard, and it was a melody he indeed knew all too well. With his task set before him, the newly reinstated Sir Alistair Wolfguard went to work. Sir Alistair, together with his fellow knights and the bannermen who slept in makeshift tents just outside the kingdom's walls, went to work digging through the salvage of their prior encounters with the Varrock horde. Sir Alistair's knowledge allowed them to imbue their swords and spears with newfound power. Their armour too would now deflect the projectiles that would otherwise burn them from the inside out. The plan was simple. They would send the might of their entire army to overwhelm and disable the towers that laid siege to the kingdom. Amidst the chaos, Sir Alistair would slip into the neighbouring forest and head to where the Varrock horde's ships rested. A place where marigold flowers grew in vast numbers, surrounding a monument to Queen Feyrin. An empty tomb that nonetheless held the grief and the pain of both her family and her people. It was a cold and cloudy day when the king's army assembled on horseback, wearing armour fashioned from shards of strange metal and wielding weapons powered by forces beyond their understanding. Sir Alistair Wolfguard led the charge with a bellowing war cry. The knights raised their swords, brandished their spears, and held them to the sky as they approached the looming towers. Arcs of pure energy crackled through the air, but not a single knight was turned to dust. Instead, their weapons absorbed the energy until they pulsated with a power beyond measure. With a single burst that burned brighter than 1,000 suns, the knights sent the energy back to the towers, shattering them like glass. Sir Alistair stole away from the army as the Varrock horde emerged to fight back. As the battle ensued, he made his way for the tomb where marigolds grow. When Sir Alistair reached the tomb, he found the king's daughter, Nira, already locked in combat with a vast machine shaped like an elongated sphere, supported by a mass of metallic tentacles that flickered and snapped at Nira. To his surprise, Nira fought with a dexterity and skill not seen amongst women of the realm. The Blackened Knight joined the fray, deflecting the machine's relentless attacks.
I was told to come and rescue you, Sir Alistair shouted.
I trained with my father's knights. I am no damsel in distress, Blackened Knight, though I do welcome your assistance, Nira replied between strikes. In that moment of weakness, one of the metal tentacles wrapped itself around Nira and lifted her from the ground. A surge of energy shot through the tentacle holding Nira, but the attack was not meant to kill. Instead, Nira's mind saw a flurry of images. She saw her mother, strange rituals conducted by the Varrock horde, and watched as their scientists drained the queen of her blood. You killed her, Nira whispered. A soft light pulsated from within the center of the machine that held her. Her sacrifice saved countless others. You must do the same, or our entire race will perish. You carry within you the blood that would save our people. Nira clenched her fists and let out a scream of pure agony. You killed her! She screamed. Nira's eyes began to glow with a brilliant crimson light. All around her, flames emerged from her skin, building in intensity until they started to melt the very metal that held her in place. Sir Alistair looked on in awe, knowing that this was no feat of science. This was magic. The flames exploded outward from Nira, tearing through the metallic beast that held her in place, scorching the trees, consuming the grass beneath her feet, and ripping through all the ships that had brought the Varrock horde to Devine. Sir Alistair was spared her wrath alone. As the lights of the tentacled monstrosity flickered and died out, a final pulse of blue light shot out into the sky, and travelled past the shattered moon that hung silently amongst the stars. Sir Alistair ran to Nira's side and held her as she sobbed. "I'm sorry. I couldn't control it," she cried.
"It's okay, Nira. It's over,"
Sir Alistair said. The pair remained silent. Outside the forest on the battlefield, the Varrock horde all ceased movement and collapsed where they stood. The remaining fighters all breathed a collective sigh of relief. Meanwhile, the blackened knight and Nira embraced one another as the ashes of an entire civilization burned all around them.